I was always looking for love. Now don't be confused, I wasn't no hoe, but I was looking for somebody to love me. You see, it's like this. You meet a guy and you think he's the best thing since sliced bread, good Lord. Then the bread molds. And what do you do with molded bread? You throw it away. And then the cycle just keeps going and going until you get married. I was just trying to make mama proud and not get pregnant. I didn't know I was going to end up with AIDS. So let me tell you how I ended up on the cover of Essence. I had only been speaking locally for about 6 months, speaking about HIV/AIDS at local high schools. And the Expo for Today's Black Women gave me a community service award. So when I stood up to receive my award, I said, you know what? Black folks, y'all in denial. I said, men have been slipping me their number all night long. I said, not only do I have HIV, but I have full-blown AIDS. And you could hear a pin drop. And then I said, thank you for the award. And I picked up my little award and I waltzed off the stage. And as I was almost off the stage, Susan Taylor grabbed my arm and said, can I do a story on you? She said, Rae, my staff and I have discussed it and we would like to put you on the cover of our magazine. And I said, as I took a deep breath in, I said, Miss Taylor, there's not a black woman in America who wouldn't want to be on the cover of your magazine. But you know nothing about me. You heard me speak for 3 minutes. Why would you put me on the cover of your magazine? And she said, Rae, I believe you have a story to tell, and I want to tell it.
My name is Rae Lewis Thornton, and I have AIDS. I've known for 9 years that I've been HIV positive.
I had a request for someone to come to a high school to speak about HIV who was not gay or a drug user. He said, would you do it? I was like, nope, I don't think so. I was just coming to terms with it. And so I called the lady, the sucker that I am. She convinced me to come to her high school. And I went. And I was scheduled for 2 days. I would give the kids these like AIDS 101. I'd give them like 5-10 minutes of AIDS 101. And then I'd stop and say, who can get AIDS? And they'd say in unison, anybody? And I'd say, can you look at a person and tell? And they're like, no.
I look good. Don't look like I'm HIV. Don't look like I have AIDS.
And I'd be like, okay, be real honest with me. If you think you can look at a person and tell. I was like, okay, so ain't nobody surprised that I got AIDS. And they like, hell no. You mean you got AIDS right now? And the hands went up.
Honey, I know you got a question because you are just in utter disbelief.
And I noticed about the third workshop that there were students that were still there, like lingering around the room. And I went to the teacher and I said, can you explain to me why you're making some kids stay? She said, Miss Lewis, these kids are skipping class to hear you speak again. And I said, huh? And the next morning when I walked into that room, students were everywhere. They were sitting in the aisles. Those who had heard me the day before were skipping class to hear me again. Those who weren't even on the schedule to hear me speak was there. And I'll never forget this. A little Hispanic girl came up to me and she said, Miss Lewis, I know you said you weren't a speaker, but you shouldn't stop because God is using you. After I spoke at that school, I couldn't shake it. I woke up in the morning thinking about those kids, so I quit my well-paying job with no speaking engagement set up, with no brochure and no direction on how to go about a speaking engagement. And because I just knew that this is what God wanted me to do. God wanted me to talk about my life. And so I stepped out on faith and did it.
Are you still making love?
Am I still making love? Now, don't nobody say making love today, do they?
Having sex.
I mean, am I still making love?
I always wanted to reach them where they were at. I wanted to know what they needed to know to get them to a better place, not what I think they should know. I make myself vulnerable to reach people in their vulnerability and bring them back to a better place, a place of wholeness, a place of healing. I'll never forget Dr. Charles. I felt like he threw me in the water, threw me in the river, and then grabbed my hand and said, come on, let's do this together. And we were talking, and he said, so what you tell the kids about your sex life?
How many guys you been with in your whole life?
He wants to know how many men have I had sex with? How many women have you had sex with? And I thought I already told y'all earlier I wasn't no hoe. I have never had a one-night stand, never had sex on the first date, only had sex with men I thought I loved. At least I thought I was loving them while I was loving them, didn't know I wasn't going to love them forever. And he looked at me just as calmly and he said, that's not true. I said, got that sister look, huh? He said, Rev, that's just not true. He said, yeah, you had sex with men you loved, but you also had sex with men you wanted to love you. Damn. Pow. It has been the most authentic piece of my healing. The economy hit me hard, and AIDS was no longer a sexy topic. You know, people weren't dying from AIDS the way they used to. And speakers got hit hard by the economy, and I saw myself struggling, like financially struggling. I started blogging, Diva Living with AIDS blog, and from blogging, I went to Twitter, and from Twitter to Instagram. And so social media became a free vehicle to reach people. It became a forum for me to do my work. You know, it was like God was saying to me, okay, I've kept you here, and to whom much is given, much is required. I woke up and decided that I needed to control the things in my health that I could control. And so I'm working out, I'm doing CrossFit, I'm doing paleo diet, and I've lost like 17 pounds. And my goal is to wear a Dionne von Furstenberg wrap dress without a Spanx. And I'm 51, and I'm liking me, and I'm loving me. Work through a lot of the low self-esteem issues, the low self-worth. And I'm on this journey to let other women know that you can deconstruct the ugly in your life and reconstruct something very, very powerful and very, very wonderful.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.